Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the House's third annual JEDx. When it comes to finding courage, strength, and hope within yourself, Lynda Fishman is a prime example of an individual who did just that. In 1970, when she was only 13 years old, her mother and two sisters were killed in a plane crash. As a survivor of this unspeakable personal tragedy, Lynda turned her wounds into wisdom, which led to her authoring her inspirational book, Repairing Rainbows. Please help me in welcoming our third JEDx speaker tonight, Lynda Fishman, to share her story.
Thank you. So can we see, with a show of hands, how many of you have ever been to Florida on a family vacation? Surprising. What about to an all-inclusive? A cruise? How about a road trip in an RV? 3 hands. Well, I just came back from a 2-week road trip in an RV with my 22-year-old daughter and our 3 dogs. That was it. It's about 28 feet long, and inside there's a kitchen, a living room, everything is compact. And actually, why am I telling you this? Because I'm a woman from Thornhill, and it's very unusual to see that kind of RV driving through Thornhill, let alone with a woman driving it. It's a big beluga to have to drive. There's no rear view mirrors. And when we got to our campsites every night, my daughter and I, we had to connect the sewer pipes, put in fresh water, hook up the electricity, level it so that when we put a glass down on the table, it didn't slide to the other end. And we did it, and I'm actually very proud of myself because it was a huge accomplishment to get behind that and drive it for 2 weeks. And it also gave us an opportunity to meet some incredible people, to do a lot of driving through back roads and see things that we'd never seen before. We went to New England. And it was a really amazing opportunity to get out of my comfort zone and away from all of the conveniences and comforts of home. And what a road trip really does is it really brings to life the expression that life is all about the journey and not the destination. Because we didn't get into that RV on the first day and say, we can't wait to get out of here at the end of 2 weeks. We actually enjoyed every single moment. We put our phones away, we took our watches off, we had no idea. Sometimes we were shocked when we realized what time it was. And it also gave my daughter and I an amazing opportunity to talk about life and what really matters in life. And what it also did for me was it gave me a chance to think about how lucky I am that I have a husband who supported this crazy idea and also refused to come with us. That was a good idea. And how lucky I am that I have a daughter who's 22 that wanted to spend 2 weeks with me in an RV and our 3 dogs. So it was really an important opportunity for me to think about how lucky I am, to think about what really matters in life by meeting so many people who have so much less than we do. And I'm telling you this RV story. I could have told you many, many stories, but I'm telling you this story because it's just one more opportunity where I had an opportunity as a person to reflect on my life and to think about how grateful I am that at the age of 13, when I was faced with horrific tragedy, I made some really good choices about how to move forward and how to live a very meaningful and happy life. And you know, when we're faced with hard times, we are faced with 3 opportunities, 3 roads in front of us. You can either give in, you can give up, or you can give it all you have. And I think that the most important message that I want to leave you with tonight is that you do have choices when you're faced with anything in life. And for me, the 2 most important choices that I feel I've made in my life are all related to core Jewish values. And one of them is to do what you can to make a difference in the lives of others. So to go about doing your best to repair one small part of the world. And the second value is to count your blessings. Those are the 2 Jewish values that really helped shape my life. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life. When I was 13 in 1970, my whole world fell apart when my mother and 2 younger sisters were killed in an Air Canada plane crash. I think after what Cheryl told you and now this, probably everybody's going to train from now on. My mother was 39. Her name was Rita. My sisters were 11 and 8. Their names were Carla and Wendy. So my father and I were left after being in a happy, wonderful family of 5. We were left just the 2 of us. That picture was taken just a few months before the plane crash. I'm the one next to my father, and life really changed quite drastically. And so I went from being in a home that was happy and wonderful to a home where all I heard was my father crying and watching him in a state of constant grief and bereavement. And I made a decision at that young age that I did not want to live that way, that somehow I was going to create a happy, meaningful life. And thank God I did, because I really have had an amazing life, and I do consider myself very blessed and very lucky. I have a wonderful husband. We've been together for over 40 years. We were about 18 then. Still look the same now. We have 3 amazing kids. I have a son-in-law who actually texts me all the time, so I know that he likes me. I really am a good mother-in-law. And we have 2 adorable grandsons. We've both had wonderful careers, and each of us had chosen careers where we were making a difference in the lives of others. I got my master's in social work and started off as a hospital social worker. And then I decided that I would become a day camp director, which was totally out of my comfort zone. How many of you were ever campers or staff at Bayview Glen or Adventure Valley? Now, do you know who I am? Do you recognize me? I was there for almost 17 years. That's me with the big hair. When I started off, in the early 90s, we had 9 people running the camp. And 2 of them, one of them was a nurse and one of them was the office manager. After almost 17 years, we grew the camp from 200 campers to 1,200 campers, and we went from 9 head staff to 50 head staff. So it was grown incredibly quickly and successfully. And I also want to tell you that I was one of the first camp directors in Toronto to integrate children with special needs into mainstream camp. In 2006, I left Bayview Glen and our family started Adventure Valley. That's the official ribbon cutting. Look at that scissors, isn't that awesome? For our first summer at Adventure Valley. That's the mayor of Markham. He was so thrilled that someone was finally using the site that had been left abandoned for a couple of years. It was in the most sorry shape ever when we took it over. We had to do major renovations, many of which we did ourselves. It was a huge, huge risk that our family took, and we worked tirelessly to build that business. And I'm not exaggerating when I say we worked absolutely tirelessly. We worked 7 days a week. We ran birthday parties on weekends, corporate events. We did anything and everything we could to get exposure for the organization and to build the business. And Barry, my husband, who had been working all week as the president and CEO of a large pharmaceutical company, spent his weekends at Adventure Valley cleaning, vacuuming, serving food, serving apple juice at birthday parties. And one story that really sticks out for me and that we talk about to this day was we had a corporate event where we had literally thousands of people show up when we only expected about 1,000. So we were all emptying garbage cans and mopping and trying to keep up with it. And it was a Sunday, very hot in July, and someone walked over to my husband Barry and said, "Excuse me, but aren't you the president of Teva?" And he said, "Yes, I am." And we laughed so hard about that, but the truth is we did anything and everything that we needed to do to build our business, and there was no shame, there were no compromises, we were going to do everything perfectly. And as a result, after the second year, we were filled to capacity, and at year 5, we sold the business. And then I once again reinvented myself as an author. I decided that I was going to write a book and tell my story about what I had dealt with throughout my life, the choices I made, and really in the hope that my story would give others hope and inspiration that life can go on after a terrible tragedy. And so my book was published, and all of a sudden I was an inspirational speaker, and I was being invited to speak all over Canada and the US to share my story and provide inspiration for people. So I had gone from being a social worker in a hospital to a summer camp director, to an author, and then to an inspirational speaker. And now, because Repairing Rainbows has done so well and is having such an incredibly positive impact on so many people, I feel really great about the fact that I did something that once again is my small part in repairing the world, in making a difference and helping people who are faced with any kind of difficulty or loss or tragedy, giving them the permission and the choices about how to move forward. And I get constant emails and feedback from people telling me that Repairing Rainbows has changed their life, and that feels incredibly wonderful. So I wish all of you the opportunity to take a few weeks off to reflect and go on a road trip and meet all kinds of people and really figure out what's important in life. But if you can't go on a road trip in an RV, then at least recognize the fact that life every day is a road trip, and it really is not about the destination, it really is about the journey. And I hope that you will fasten your seatbelts, go out there and make a difference, count your blessings, and enjoy the ride.